thoughts in your mind that you aren't good enough, that you'll never be successful? If so, you're not alone. I've had those thoughts playing in my mind ever since I took the leap to become an entrepreneur. It's a dirty, dark secret that no one likes to talk about, as the glamorization of becoming an entrepreneur is shown in the media. I realized that in order to succeed, I needed help. We all do. So I decided to go all in on myself, spending thousands of hours in the trenches, reading, joining groups, listening to podcasts, hiring coaches to develop a bulletproof morning routine for success. Join me on my journey as together we build our morning fire to ignite our lives as entrepreneurs. My name is Jeff Wickersham, and this is the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. Welcome to the show. I am excited to have special guest Dennis Berry on the show. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. What an awesome, inspiring opening that is. I mean, like, who doesn't get jacked up when you see something like that?
Thank you. I truly do appreciate that. So I'm pumped up to get into our discussion. I think it's so relevant with the time of year that we're going live, recording, and then releasing it. As I always do, I love getting into state before we get into one of these discussions. So we're going to do 3 power breaths, and I define a power breath: breathing in through the belly, up through the chest, and we'll raise our hands above our head. So let's go ahead and breathe in and out. Good. Another breath in and out. Final breath in and out. All right. Now we're going to amp up the energy. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and we're going to yell boom at the top of our lungs and pound our chests in 3, 2, 1, and boom.
Boom.
There you go. I appreciate you. Appreciate you playing along, Dennis. And nothing can be done without energy, excitement, and enthusiasm, right? Nothing great can be accomplished without those. So I always love amping up the energy level. So I am a 100% without a doubt believer that your foundation is how you end your day and start your day, right? Those bookends, as I like to call it. So what are 1 or 2 things, Dennis, that you do first thing in the morning that set you down that path towards success?
Exercise and mindfulness. I mean, those right off the bat it's so important. If I wake up in the morning and I grab something that invokes fear and insecurity and anger and stress into my life, that's the way my day goes. If I wake up and I pump excitement and positive energy, love, mindfulness, and awareness, that's the way my day goes. Like, I have a choice. And so I used to wake up and get stoned and have a drink. And that's how I started my day. And it didn't get me far, as you might imagine. And I did that for 15 years. And so I wake up and I used to use drugs and alcohol to alter my mind. And now I use meditation and exercise and eating well and exercise to alter my mind.
I love a couple of things you said. One is you have a choice, right? You do have a choice. And so many times we give up that choice, and you have a choice right when you wake up in the morning. Hit the snooze button, not hit the snooze button. Do something that enriches your life, gives you energy, or do something that takes you down that other path. And I would say so many times people are ending their day and starting their day looking at their phones. And when people are doing that, I've got 2 words for you: good luck, right?
Yeah.
Because you are filling your mind with that negativity, and you're at the beck and call of whatever the algorithm is feeding you if you're jumping on social media, for example. So love that. Love exercise, love mindfulness. Meditation is I'm a huge fan of meditation as well. So love how you start your day. So this is such a relevant topic as we turn the page into 2022, addiction, right? And alcohol. You mentioned alcohol and drugs, and you spending 15 years kind of in that hole of every day waking up and starting your days that way. So if you would just describe to the audience a little bit of background. And then I know you had a moment of sobriety, 15, I think it's 18 years ago, where you've been sober ever since. So we'd love to hear the backstory, and then let's get into some real world examples and strategies that people can use to help themselves.
Sure. Yeah. This goes back to when I was 5 years old, and my grandmother said to my mother, "He worries like a little old man." At 5 years old, already full of the worries, insecurities, and fears of the world, just like all of us. It's really the human condition. It wasn't confined to Dennis. But what happened was I never developed any healthy coping skills on how to deal with my human condition, my fears, insecurities, heartaches, and how to manage life. And then fast forward to 15 years old, I take my first drink and I was like, it was that sense of relief that I don't have to feel that way anymore. I don't have to feel anything anymore. And how awesome is that? And so from there, you forward another 15 years of DUIs and arrests and car accidents, broken relationships, finances, health problems. And then I was 31 years old in 2003, and I reached this moment where I just couldn't drink anymore. I couldn't live without alcohol, and I couldn't live with alcohol. That's that point where some people call rock bottom, and I didn't know how to cope with life. So, the reason most people fail in sobriety is that you remove the harmful behavior, which in this case is drugs and alcohol, but we don't replace it with healthy behaviors. And 2 days later, life kicks you in the balls because that's what life does. And I have no skills. So I say, screw this, I'm going to drink because that's what I know how to do. So, being sober or not drinking or doing drugs, it's not a not drinking contest. It's about growing up, looking the world in the eye, being a responsible adult, and learning how to cope with my human condition, basically.
Gotcha. And so take us back into 2003. What was the trick? Like, how did you get to that point where you said enough is enough? Take us through the situation. Was it something happened to you and you just said, I can't do this anymore? Take us back to that.
Sure. In 2002, November 15th, I live in Colorado, and I was coming down from the mountains one night, November 15th, 2002. And I had about a gallon of whiskey that day. And I was coming down, for those that know Colorado, coming down I-70, there's Idaho Springs. And I rolled my truck 3 times doing 75 miles an hour.
Wow.
And I somehow landed on my wheels, and that saved my life, kept me from rolling into the Clear Creek, which is the river that flows down I-70 there. And I got in trouble, obviously, and I didn't die, but I had blood coming out of my head, and it was a major catastrophe. And I said, I'm never drinking again. And then I continued to drink for another 6 months. And finally, I lost my job due actually to that accident, events from that. And the losing my job at that point was really like a big blow to me, because I was really proud of where I'd gone to, even though I was a mess and really gross at the time. But that day, April 8th, 2003, my girlfriend came over, and I had a girlfriend at the time, which was amazing because I was really not in good condition for any relationships or anything like that. And she just looked at me. I fell asleep in all my clothes. I peed my pants. I was a mess. The man you see here today is not who I used to be. It took a long time to become who I am today. And she looked at me and she said, well, this isn't going to work. And I just started crying. And I said, I can't stop. I don't know how. And, she got online, and back in the old days, the old dial-up internet connection, and she got me into, or she found a rehab facility, and I was in there 2 days later, and I've been sober since. And, again, let's go back to what I said when I started this rant, was that it's not a not drinking contest. I had to learn how to live differently. I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem, and I didn't know how to cope with my thoughts of fear, insecurity, heartache, how do I succeed in life? All those things that I see other people doing seemingly easy, but I don't know how to do that, right? And so I had to ask for help, which I always say is really so important. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. If you don't know how to do something, if you're stuck in life, whether it's an addiction, a relationship problems, health problems, financial problems, how to start a business, write a book, whatever your thing is you want to do, if you don't know how to get there, ask questions. And since that time, I had a lot of growing up to do, a lot of learning how to live day to day and be honest. And some things that are just normal things that we learn as kids and teenagers that I didn't pick up on. And eventually I did. And what I do now, because it was a long road of reconstruction for me, is that I've dedicated my life to helping other people do that, so they don't have to struggle as long or as hard as I had to.
No, I love that story. And I love the line, asking for help is a sign of strength. And I feel like, especially from the male side of things, many times we think that is a sign of weakness, right? The bravado, no, I can do it all myself. And we don't ask for help when we truly need it. And that continues to spiral downward in whichever direction you're headed, whatever you're doing. Back to, alcohol and addiction. So I'll be completely transparent. My 20s and 30s, I was probably a weekend alcoholic, right? Where I drank to get drunk, to maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, spent my weekends in a haze, regret, feeling crappy, all those pieces to it. And it wasn't into my early 40s where I finally said, hey, when was the last 30 days I went without alcohol? And it was like 24 years. And I feel like definitely in society, it's like the norm now to get off of work and have a drink, or Fridays, I'm done the work week, I'm going to have 4 or 5 drinks. Right. And it's just such, I see it. And you correct me if you see it the same way. It's such a crippler to growth because you're numbing the pain. You're not keeping it close to you to have it inspire you and motivate you. You're numbing up where you're at in life.
Yeah, it certainly can be that. And, let me clarify is that I'm not mad at alcohol. I think alcohol is actually great. It's like it kind of removes you from whatever the monotony of life, or care, boredom, and worry, as some groups like to say. It gives a little levity to life, and that's great for people that don't abuse it. I didn't have that power of control. I never had a drink. People are like, "Oh, you want to have a drink?" I never had anything. I had a case of beer, or a fifth, or an 8-ball, or an eighth of weed. Like, I never had anything. I'm not good at moderation.
Okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that. And and since being sober in almost 19 years now, it's like I've been to every island in the Caribbean, beach parties. I currently live in Mexico, actually, in paradise, and I can go anywhere on the planet that anybody else goes, and I don't have to be afraid to drink, or people are afraid to drink around me when they know I'm sober, and I'm like, why? I want you to live your life. We're all just enjoying our days. So if you want to blow off steam after work and go to happy hour and have a drink, that's fine. If it's causing problems, then stop. And if you're having problems stopping, then ask for help. So, but yeah, what you said was truly accurate. It's like, if I'm drinking to cover up feelings that I have, that's the problem. Because my thing was like, I don't know how to feel. That was my problem. So when and another thing we have to watch out for is cross addictions, and that's what I deal with a lot. It's like, I'm going to stop drinking, but I'm going to get stoned. I'm going to stop getting stoned, but I'm going to watch 8 hours of Netflix. I'm going to stop watching Netflix, so I'm going to watch porn. I'm going to stop watching porn. I'm going to scroll on my phone mindlessly for 6 hours a day. So those are all distractions from feeling and from accomplishing my goals at a high level. When I hit a wall and I don't know how to proceed, I turn to a distraction, and then I feel like I'm getting something done. And then a week or a month or another year goes by, and I'm still in the same spot, and I don't know how to get out of it.
Right. Right. So I know you touched on not an alcohol problem. You didn't know how to actually adjust or put a good habit in place, right? Replace that. So what are some tips, strategies that people can leverage to do that? If it's alcohol, if it's porn, if it's whatever, right? How are some ways that they can go about starting that adjustment and rewiring of, hey, I'm hitting a wall, and all of a sudden I go to porn, right? When I have that, or I turn to alcohol. How do we rewire so it's a true long lasting equation, right? That they can run with.
Yeah, and beautiful. What a great transition into this topic here. Rewiring, because look, we're driven by our subconscious minds, by our subconscious thinking. So, our conscious mind is the mind of intent, right? It's the mind that says, I'm not going to drink today. I'm going to, here's my to-do list. This is what I'm going to do today, and I'm not going to drink. And my subconscious mind says, let's go to happy hour. because that's what I've been programmed to do. So I end up at happy hour, right? So in order to undo that, it takes a little bit of time. Like I said, for 15 years, I programmed my mind to cope with my human condition, my problems, my whatever harmful habits I was doing with drugs and alcohol. So it's going to take longer than a week or two to undo and rewire or reprogram, like you said, our subconscious mind. And it goes deep. So our subconscious mind does good things too, right? Like we brush our teeth. So when we wake up in the morning, we just go brush our teeth. And why do we do that? Because when we were 3 years old, our parents said, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth every day for days and days and weeks and months. And now we just do that. So it's the same thing with our harmful habits and our harmful belief systems. So we have to go in and rewire that. So when we get sober, it's like, let's remove the harmful behavior and put healthy things in its place. So like you said, we have to come up with a specific plan of action. And that's what I do as a coach. You know, when people say, what is life mastery? Well, I quit drinking. And that's the addiction recovery piece of the coaching that we do. And then I want to master every area of my life. And we have ways of figuring out like what areas need the most tweaking. But probably usually there's like, I need to improve my health. Well, one of the mistakes I hear all the time is, oh, it's okay that you stop drinking, but keep smoking. It's okay. Now, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? The best defense against cravings, overcoming cravings, and avoiding triggers that hurt you is a healthy immune system and a strong body. And how can you do that when you're pumping smoke and sugar into your body all day long? So we really need to take a look at the whole picture and then become a complete person. So to answer your question, that was the long way, is we start implementing, like you said, healthy routines. So when I wake up in the morning, if my routine is to go grab a beer and smoke a joint, guess what? How's life going to go? So now we wake up in the morning and we start doing healthy habits, diet, exercise, watching or reading something productive, useful, and inspiring like this show, and moving in that direction. And then the other thing is a real organization. So like I mentioned, to-do list earlier. So we need to have a to-do list, a calendar put together. What am I going to do tomorrow before I go to bed tonight? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock. I'm going to exercise at 7. I'm going to eat breakfast at 8. I'm going to go to work. I'm this, and this. Because if I don't know where I'm going, I'm going to end up someplace else. So we need to get organized and focused, and we have a better chance of success.
No, I love that. And what I heard kind of in that theme is being very intentional, right? About what we're doing. And so many times we just play defense and we let life dictate to us what is happening. And that's why I would say anxiety and depression are all-time highs, right? Because we are letting life just dictate to us what our needs, wants, stresses that are coming into the world are just dictated by playing defense. And the other piece is, you mentioned life mastery. And one of the things that I've found is so many people believe it's a destination, right? And there's no destination. It's just an always ever evolving process. And when you shift that mindset, it's incredibly powerful, because then you're not, oh, I just want to get here. No, just fall in love with every day being the best version of yourself. And it's incredibly powerful.
It is. And that was really well put. And it's like, we don't have to do these things to improve our lives. We get to do these things to improve our lives. So it's really a shift in our mindset and how we view the world. And, if I view it as a chore every day to get up and do these things that are going to improve my life, then it's going to continue to be a chore, and there's definitely a period where we need to see a little bit of progress. Sometimes we have to, wait a week or two or a month or 2 or 6 before we start seeing some really massive changes. And that's where a lot of people fail, because we lack patience. We live in an instant microwave world. We want everything now. As soon as I make a decision to lose 20 pounds, I want that done by tomorrow, because I have shit to do. And if it doesn't happen, we revert back to our own thinking that we know subconsciously, because our conscious mind doesn't want to do that. But our subconscious mind brings us right back there, because that's where we're comfortable. Our subconscious mind doesn't know good or bad, right from wrong. It just does what it's programmed to do. And I programmed it to deal with my insecurities, fears, and heartaches with unhealthy coping skills and behaviors. So it just takes a little time and accountability from somebody who's not emotionally attached to what I'm going through to guide me through the process.
So true. And I would say the other factor is what we're fed from a society perspective, media, right? I just heard I was listening to sports talk radio yesterday, and it was one of the ads was lose 40 pounds in 40 days. Like, come on, it doesn't happen. Otherwise you're starving yourself and you're going to just yo-yo back. So, limiting those data inputs from the outside and knowing it's going to take time and knowing it's going to be a process. There are going to be difficult days. You're setting yourself up for success rather than that lofty vision of the dream of seeing yourself there and thinking it's going to be a yellow brick road that's going to be easy and you're going to hop along it as you go along your journey. So true. I did have a comment come in. I'll share it. Thomas said, awesome. I appreciate telling your story. Love the comments on power and control. People do not realize that drinking, how it's numbing them. Yep. So true. Thomas, appreciate you commenting. So Dennis, I've loved this conversation. It's so relevant. So where can people find you if they want to connect, get in the Life Mastery series, all of those pieces to the puzzle?
Yeah, the very best way is on my website, which is dennisberry.com. And from there, you can schedule a free session. I would love to talk with you. And like you just said, there's Life Mastery School by Dennis Berry there. And it's a series of free videos that anybody can come watch. We're about to upload even workbooks that go along with it. There's 4 series currently. One of them is addiction recovery. One is meditation and mindfulness, which is, of course, integral, which we didn't have time to talk about yet, but so important. I even have guided meditations. What is mindfulness and meditation? How can it help us? I have a series on health and wellness and marriage and relationships. And you can buy my book and just come and say hi. Check it out.
Awesome. Dennis, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I enjoyed it. You're a great host. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. Rise, fight, love, repeat. Get after it. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. You now have the knowledge, but without action, knowledge is useless. Choose to act. Choose to step into your greatness and unlock that hero inside of you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review so more entrepreneurs can hear this message. If you absolutely love this podcast, which I hope you do, then share it up with someone you know who might see benefit from it. Become that beacon of change, and together we can impact the world.